so much. And your answer is because you guys are at the epicenter of election reform. And a lot of things have come together at one time. And it's not by accident. There have been a lot of us working behind the scenes to make things happen at the same time. For example, did you notice that last week the Judicial Watch lawsuit concluded where where the judge ruled and the court ruled that you had to remove 800,000 people from your voter rolls? If you heard me a year ago, what was the number I said at that time? About 720,000, and I said it was conservative. Okay, and I still think the 800,000 is not enough. I think it's about twice that, and I'm going to show you that tonight as well. So anyway, I've been traveling whole state. I've been coming here since 2021, and I remember I did a 10-county tour along the coast in 2021 and met a lot of you then, and kind of got things going. But in those days, we really had an immature strategy of how to approach this. We've come a long way since then. We've grown a lot together. A lot of us made a lot of errors at the beginning. I don't want to call them errors, but it's just inexperience. We didn't know what we were doing. And that's the biggest problem in our country, actually, is we've all been so disinvolved from our civic engagement, from our elections. None of us knew what to do or how to do it. This 2020 election happened, and we were all just sitting there like deer in the headlights. Nobody knew what to do. Well, now we know. Oh boy, and we are cleaning up all over the country. Now, Oregon is special, and I'm just want to tell you a couple of things. So what happened was I was traveling around, and I was going mostly where I was invited. It makes sense. I'm on the road about 25 out of 30 days a month, pretty much constantly. I get to go home Wednesday night. I'm doing the red eye to go home, and I can be home for about 6 days. It's my longest rest this year. My wife wants me to open the pool, so I get home. And so that'll be fun. It's a good break. I need to exercise. I need to get out in the sun, and it's good. But anyway, I was coming where I was supposed to be invited, and I hadn't gone to any of these counties over here yet on the dry side of your state, only on the wet side. And I was speaking to a sheriff up in Clatsop County. That was about a year ago. And he said to me, Dr. Frank, I was showing him the evidence, the data for Clatsop County, and he was like really impressed. Most sheriffs are pretty fed up with us as grassroots people because we run to the sheriffs with all kinds of accusations, but not evidence. And I was showing actual evidence. And sheriffs, their whole mindset shifts when I show them their own evidence from their own counties. So I showed him, he's like, Dr. Frank, he says, how come you haven't been over here? He says, those people over there would love you. He says 13 out of 15 of them already want to secede from the state and join Idaho. They love you over there. So I thought, great. So he called several of the sheriffs over here, and Teresa and Stephen and I have been doing trips. We've done multiple tours out there to meet with them. But the problem I run into, just by way of introduction, is I show up in those counties and they look at me like, what's wrong with you, Doctor? What are you doing here? We don't need you here. We don't need you here, Dr. Frank. Our elections are fine. What do you mean your elections are fine? Oh, yeah, we love our clerk. We love our commissioners. We have a great sheriff. Everything's fine here, Dr. Frank. And so I was just asking at that point, well, tell me about your school boards. And without exception, they all go, oh. Oh, okay, but wait a minute. You're a 4-1 MAGA county, but yet your school boards are flaming liberal. That doesn't make sense, does it? Everybody likes to think about their elections as the top of the ticket, and they forget that actually the more important races are the local races. We learned in 2020 that school board race is probably the most important race in here. See it. The most important race in town. But anyway, so I started going out there. So the first thing I run into is I had to convince them something was wrong with their elections because they all think everything's okay. So once I show them their data, then boy, are they on board. We have lots of teams, new teams that are forming over there. And I think I've had the Washington County team help a few of them out because Washington County team, your team is one of the more advanced in the state. I'm really proud of you guys. So anyway, I forget. Sure. So we were last year going to kind of have our big reveal day where we started reading everything. We have tons of actual real evidence, actual real fraud, real illegal voting, real examples of problems. We're going to have multiple counties last year all at once stand up and start reporting that in the media and right in front of your commissioners, right in public. Read it right into the formal record. That's awesome. We're planning to do that, but we're waiting for the judicial watch lawsuit to finish up, and you notice it didn't finish till last week. So while we were waiting, I was harvesting over here, and we've probably got another half a dozen counties over there that are joining in, which is awesome. And basically, I'm not trying to like build suspense. I just want to kind of lay it out that there's a lot of meat to put on these bones. The basic principle is this: your election equipment is illegal. We proved it in court. Your voter rolls are illegal. We proved it in court. Why are your you're wasting huge amounts of money. Every election you waste a massive amount of money, county money, mailing ballots to people who aren't real. Okay? There you go. What do you got? You have a ballot in hand? And you have a ballot in your hand. Yeah. Okay, so there you go. You're wasting huge amounts of, thanks for bringing that. Yeah. You're wasting huge amounts of money mailing ballots to people who aren't here. So why are you doing that? That's stupid. Stop doing it. All that's missing is for you to realize, hey, wait a minute. Our state systems are illegal. Our voter rolls are illegal. Our counties are wasting huge amounts of money. We don't have to comply with an illegal, non-compliant system. In fact, why don't you follow federal law that your state isn't? All you are lacking is the knowledge that you're in this mode and about 5 other counties to link elbows with you and do it together. All you're missing is organization. Everything else you have, we already have. So get your kit in gear, let's go. Okay? We're going to take back our elections. We're going to take them back. And you notice that little brochure that Teresa put out, 7 steps taking back the elections. I wrote that about 4 years ago. I was still pretty naive at that point about a lot of things, but it's still been working. We are following that. My contact information is on the back if you want to get to. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm here to talk about. And I want to put some flesh on those bones for you. I just jump right in, but I'm having fun with it. Most of you already know me. Most of you have heard my blathering about. I'm happy to be here. So I was, before my last trip in February, we come once a month, I did an interview with Scott Ketchum and John Douglas, and then Rick Dancer had me on. And that was the week that they announced that 800,000 people were being removed from the rolls. And so I made this post. I said, Oregon voters are amazing. The state of Oregon has about 3 million voting age people. 3 million. That's how many people you have voting age. That doesn't mean they're eligible to vote. That's how many people voting age. 3 million people. According to the official state records for the 2024 general election, there were over 3 million people listed in their voter rolls. About 3.1. And about 2.3 million people voted. So just think about that. 3.1 million minus 800,000 is 2.3 million. In other words, every person in the Oregon voter rolls voted in the 2024 general election. 100% turnout. Okay. It's already been proven in court that Oregon's voter rolls are out of compliance with state and federal law. That their election systems are out of compliance with state and federal law. The solution is obvious. Oregon County should stop using the unconstitutional illegal election rules and systems being imposed upon them by the state. They need to run their own elections locally with their own eyes and hands. They would save large amounts of money, over a factor of 10, and could restore fidelity to their elections. You see where this is all going? Are you getting the point? I just told you the argument in 2 different ways. Okay? Now, what have I been doing? For the last 2 days, I've been hiding in my room up down in Salem. I'm just gonna show you something. Let me show you something. Remember Fire Marshal Bill? Let me show you something. Okay. So I just posted this last night. It's already got 10,000 views in like 12 hours. Okay. Let me tell you what I did. I have 6 copies of your voter rolls. One from 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and now March of 26. I have 6 copies of the whole state. And what I did is I broke it out into counties and I analyzed every county. By the way, you're never supposed to show a table in a presentation, so forgive me for that. But it's online, and you can go on my website and look at it. I'm going to be showing your commissioners tomorrow. It's sort of fun to come back and say, I told you so. Because when I was there a year ago, I told them, you can watch it online. I take the 5 minutes that they gave me and I recorded it and posted it on my YouTube channel. I told them, we're going to be revealing all kinds of fraud and problems in your elections coming up. And you can either get prepared and be proactive, or you can wait till it happens to you and be reactive. And I was offering my help. And I said, look, I don't charge anything. I'm not charging anything tonight to be here. So there's no excuse to not have me in and come and help you clean up your elections. All you got to do is invite me, and I'd be delighted. But of course, they did invite me. But tomorrow I'm going to say, now that it's proven that your elections are illegal in court and your voter rolls are illegal in court, I guess maybe you should have listened to me, huh? Maybe you should get involved, right? See what I do. So come have fun with that tomorrow. But let me just tell you what this table is, because now you can read the numbers. They're all too small. But what it is for every county, all 36 of your counties I've got listed on this side, I've showed you how many people were in the 2025 rolls, the January 2025 rolls. And then here I've listed everybody that's in the March 2026 rolls. Now, this is just not a statistic. This is not a number. I know the name of every person, their address, and their voting district. I have the complete list of every name. I know whether they're active, inactive, or whatnot. So when your Secretary of State says, I'm going to remove 800,000 voters, who's going to check them? I am. Now, I've already been checking them, and you're going to be shocked, because what they're saying to you now is, oh no, we take out all kinds of voters. They do. They really do. I right here who they remove. But what you need to say is, when he says we take people out, you need to say, well, how many people did you put back in? Okay, not of the same names, new names. They'll take a whole bunch of people out and put a whole bunch of new people in. In fact, let's just look at your county, for example. And I don't expect you to be able to read this, but I'll give you a couple of numbers. So in your January 2025 rolls, here we are. We are in which county? We're in now. I know. So you had 489,000 people total in your voter rolls, and 395,000 of them were active. So that means you're mailing out 395,000 ballots. You got it? Okay. And there were about 94,000 inactive. So total of 488. Ignore that number for now. Let's just look at 395. So you were mailing 395,000 ballots out. Then in between, your county removed 30,000, 33,000, and they added back 36,000. Now, wait a minute. You're shrinking as a county. I have your population graph. I'm about to show that. So when they say they're taking out, they're not lying. But the question, it's like you go to the bank and you take $50 out. Well, that's fine, but how much did you put in? You want to know what the balance is afterwards, right? So they took out 33,000 and they put in 36,000. So now you have 491,000 in the rolls instead of 488,000. But this is where it's important. You used to have 395,000 actives. Now you have 400,000 actives.
What a coincidence.
But your rolls of your population has gone down, but your rolls have added 5,000 more people you're mailing ballots to. You see what I'm saying? Your clerk isn't even able to do this, okay? Because, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute, because your clerk actually isn't in control of your elections. Your clerk thinks he is, but he's not. Let's just talk about that. And I just jumped right in. I didn't even introduce myself. Y'all know who I am, right? Crazy guy, crazy physicist guy from Ohio. Likes to do modeling. All right. Okay, here we go. What's wrong with our elections? Now, I do this every day all over the country, and I hear grassroots teams every day, and most of them are about 5 years behind the time. They're spinning their wheels doing things that are kind of a waste of time, and I talk about it all the time. They're hamster wheels. They think they're doing something good. And let me give you an example of a hamster wheel, and I don't mean to insult anybody because I appreciate all the efforts that are going on, but you have this interesting effort here called End Vote by Mail. You know what I'm talking about? NVBM?
Yes.
Okay. I think it's a great idea, but think about what your strategy is. Your strategy is you're going to collect a bunch of signatures to get an issue on the ballot. And if it passes the ballot, then it goes to the legislature to write a law. You might have something maybe in a couple of years, maybe. So if you're looking for that initiative to give you a remedy, I don't think that's a very good strategy. However, I love the initiative because you're educating the people that we want to get rid of it. So if your strategy is we're engaging this as a public education effort, power to you. I'm behind you. Let's keep, it's nothing wrong with that. But if you're expecting it to give you your remedy, you're living in la la land. I'm telling you right now, there isn't one good legislature in the country, not one legislature in this country that has done anything meaningful in election reform since the 2020 election. I know up close and personal. There's a lot of things that sound like they're doing something, but when you read it, it's nothing. They're doing nothing. Here's another thing people are confused about. Oh, Dr. Frank, the SAVE Act, that'll fix everything. Yeah, let's just pass another gun law. That'll fix violence. Your states are already not following the law. What's bringing in another law going to do? Nothing. And by the way, it will be immediately challenged to go to the Supreme Court because the Constitution of the United States is quite clear on this matter that the states get to decide the manner of their elections. And so the federal government can't dictate how you run your elections. It's up to you. It's constitutional. And I actually like it that we're a federation of states. I think each state should. We don't want power to be centralized. So here we are in that situation. So if you're waiting for Trump to save the day, you're living in la la land again. He's awesome. But he did a post, I'll show it to you in a minute. He can't fix it. You have to fix it. The solution is not top down. The solution is bottom up. And that's what I've been teaching people all over the country. And I'll put some meat on those bones. So what's wrong with our elections isn't mail-in voting, isn't electronic machines. I love Mike Lindell. He and I are good friends. I've spent many weeks with him. He's a sweetheart. A lot of energy to be with him, but he's a sweetheart. I love the guy. He's awesome. He wants to melt the machines down and make them into prison bars. Exactly. Okay. I agree. But the machines aren't the only problem. I mean, really, there's three parts to an election. There's who gets to vote. That's the voter rolls. How do you vote, actually carry it out and count it and tally it up? And then how do you report it? Those are like three different phases. And each one of them has got this rife with opportunities for cheating and fraud. Just fixing one of them doesn't fix the problem. I mean, that's the situation. So what's wrong with our elections? I'm going to tell you what's wrong. And I know what's wrong because I've been doing this every day and I've learned. This is what's wrong. In every state, and I mean every state, no exceptions, elections are now centrally controlled by the state. You're not alone in this respect. Every state is now centrally controlled. It's interesting. I've been doing a lot of work in Alabama. I mentioned they use ES&S machines in their state. And I was with a clerk the other day. She said, and was asking about her voter rolls. She was saying, okay, let me check something. So she's trying. She said, oh, I can't log in. Well, what's wrong? Well, they were having a storm in Nebraska today, and our voter rolls were in Omaha, Nebraska. All of Alabama's voter rolls aren't even in their own state. Okay, they're in another state. Okay. So they're all centrally controlled. Your elections are centrally controlled. Most of the stuff that's happening in your voter rolls isn't even being done by your government officials. It's being done by an outside NGO known as ERIC, E-R-I-C, Election Registration Information Center. So anyway, because someone else is in control of your elections, you've lost your constitutional voice. We no longer are representing. And I've come up with a simple way to explain this to you so you can understand. So when I was in college, we had this central computer on campus. It was a VAX computer in our case. And around campus, we had these terminals. They're basically just a screen and a keyboard. And we called them dumb terminals. Anybody who was around in those days remembered we called them dumb terminals because they don't have any software, any files, any programming, nothing in there. It's just a dumb communication device with a central computer. Well, guess what? That's the way your elections are right now. You've got a central database and your clerks are just dumb terminals. And what do I mean by that? Let's say you go in and you want to register to vote and you talk to the clerk. Does the clerk say, oh, you want to register to vote? Great, fill out this form. Does she then add you to the voter rolls? No. she logs into the state system and adds you to the state system out there in the cloud somewhere, right? Or let's say you mentioned your father passed away, okay? You can go in and say, would you please take my dad out of the voter rolls? Does she take out the voter rolls and remove? No, it's a he in this county. He logs into the state system, fills out a form, and requests that the state remove the dead person from the voter rolls. So, in other words, your clerk is not in control of the voter rolls. And a lot of them want to argue with me on that. And so I just simply give them the list of all the names that have been added and removed from their rolls in the last year. And they didn't do that. Somebody else did that. So it's a pretty easy argument they quickly lose. Anyway, so the problem is the clerks themselves, they don't understand this. They think they're in control of their elections, but they're not. So, for example, at the end of election day, what does the clerk do? The clerk takes a stick out of the machine, walks over, and plugs it into a dumb terminal. And the tabulation is even done at the state level. In other words, your clerks aren't even counting the ballots, right? Are you counting the ballots? Neither are they. They aren't running the rolls. They aren't running the tabulation. They're just dumb terminals. I'm not insulting their intelligence. I'm talking about the functions they perform. But yet they think they're in control of their elections. And what did Stalin say? Stalin said it's enough that the people know there was an election. The people who cast the votes decide nothing. The people who count the votes decide everything. So you think by voting you are being decisive, but actually, if you're not counting them, and you're not counting them local, you are out of control. And I just have to tell you this story. It's a great story. Mary's over here grinning, and Jill's back there grinning because they know what I'm about to tell you. So I can't tell you where I was because something's going on. You know, when there are legal investigations, you're not allowed to say something sometimes. But I was over here on this side of the state, the dry side of the state, and I was sitting with a sheriff, and I was showing him how the voter rolls were being manipulated. And he was really upset, and he was like, "Who's doing this, Dr. Frank?" You know, he says, "I know my population in my county. It goes up by 1 or 2% a year, but you're showing me the voter rolls changed 40%. I'm like, "Yeah." He says, "My population didn't change 40%. Yeah, but your voter rolls did. That's incredible. That's crazy." He says, "Who's doing this?" He says, "I know the machines are online, the tabulating machines, but who's manipulating the rolls?" I said, "Whoa, hold it right there." I said, "Usually when I'm talking to sheriffs or talking to officials, I have to convince them that their machines are online." Like they admitted in the Tim Sippel case in court when your lovely silver-haired, beautiful Japanese lady said that, or Hawaiian, I don't remember. It was Asian. She said, yeah, she could turn the modems on and she didn't even need a password. That's in the court record. Okay, that's not me making that up. And your Secretary of State even admitted that your machines were accessible wirelessly. But anyway, I'm off topic. Let's get back to the story. So I said, usually I have to convince people that their machines are online. How do you know the machines are online? And he says, well, during the 2024 election, I was on the ballot running for sheriff. He says that I wanted to see how we were doing. And I'm several blocks down from the registrar's office. So I thought I would just check and see what the county had. So I logged into the county system and I could see all the tallies on all the tabulators. And I was way ahead. So I called up my clerk's name. You know, I remember her name, but I'm not telling you because I'm protecting an identity. And he says, I'm going to say he's Mary. He says, "Hey, Mary, I see that I'm doing really well in the election. Thanks for running a good election. Looks like we're going to be working together next year." She's like, "Wait a minute. How do you know what the tallies are?" He says, "I'm looking at them right now on the computer." She says, "No, you can't know the tallies. The election is underway. Nobody knows the tallies." He goes, "I'm looking at them right now on the computer." And she's, "No, that can be right." So he takes his phone, takes a picture, sends it to her. And she's like, "What?" She runs a couple more ballots to one of the tabulators. He takes another picture. The machines are online. He's monitoring the tallies on every machine. The clerks don't know. The clerks don't even look for it because they're told by the County Clerks Association that the machines can't connect to the internet. But I promise you, they're all on networks. I have the BIOS passwords for all of your machines in this county. Do you remember when I was in that case with Tim Sipple, that because I signed an NDA, I got to see all of the records. I can log into every one of your election machines anytime I want. It can even be turned off. It doesn't look like it's on, but if a computer's plugged in, it's really on. And I can log in and I can get into everything in your election. So can anybody with a high school level hacking ability. Your elections are totally networked. That's why when the government set up HAVA in 2002, Help America Vote Act, they simultaneously set up something called CISA, CISA, Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Act. Because when the states objected, the federal government said, we want no more hanging chads. We want you all using electronic machines. They all said, no, they're not secure. No worries, we'll put together secure networks for you. And the government will protect them. That's what happened. By the way, did you notice this year, Trump threw out CISA? He closed that division. He also threw out USAID. Notice that? Did you also notice that he took over Venezuela? There's a reason for these things, okay? They're all connected to elections. The 2016 and 2020 elections were being manipulated and managed through Venezuela. That's the whole point. It's like a personal vendetta for you. He's just going down the line, check. Anyway, so you see where this is going. So anyway, that sheriff that I met with, who I'm not revealing his identity, he knows that the machines are online, and several of your sheriffs now know. So don't make me argue that, okay? But I've learned something. I've learned that information is worthless. Would you turn your phone off, Bob? I'm being careful with it.
It's my hearing aid.
Yeah. What do I mean by worthless? Worthless is too strong a word. It's impotent. We could all stand up together and we could all scream at the top of our lungs, our election machines are connected to the internet, and we could be right, and nothing will happen. It's impotent. You have to show there's a negative consequence because of that. Once there's a negative consequence, not only do you have legal standing, but you can actually show that there's harm, and you have a reason, you have standing to complain, you have standing to demand action. You know, for example, the dirty voter rolls. If everybody was honest, so what? The dirty rolls are dirty, it doesn't really hurt anything. But the fact that people aren't honest and people are taking advantage of that, that's the problem. So anyway, let's get back. So I told that story. Your machines are online, your clerks don't even know. Your clerks also don't even know how to do this. Why? Because they don't have their own copy of the voter rolls. It's not like they can say, oh, gee, 10 names were added this week and 10 names were removed. All they have is the current list, because all they do is log into that list that's online. It's a living database. It's always in flux. They don't download snapshots that they compare week to week to find out who's being added and removed. It's just a constantly changing thing. Well, that's why we have 6 copies. Before we leave tonight, I have a fun thing for us to do together. I've been doing this all over the state. Did it a couple times this afternoon. I'm going to show you your own voter rolls right here in Washington County, and we're going to look up a couple of your addresses. And we're just going to look in your own neighborhood. It's in every network, every neighborhood. And even today, Bob, former city councilman, is next door neighbor. And Jill was at your house we looked at. You're going to be shocked. I have yet to miss. Why is that? Because your rolls are so dirty. It's on every page, tons of it. 1 in 3, 1 in 4 of the people in your rolls don't belong there. It's preposterous, and yet you're mailing ballots to those people. So I guess I just want to say to you, stop being stupid. Stop using a dumb voter rolls. Start using a clean voter rolls, which you can prepare and you can use yourself. And you have legal standing now that the courts have proven that they're out of compliance. Why would you comply with a non-compliant system? Why don't you comply with state and federal law and actually use a clean voter rolls? Why wouldn't you do that? Especially, it's like with your situation with your pa. If the county said to the state, we're not going to mail a ballot to him, they're going to say, you have to, that's the law. Oh, you're going to force us to mail ballots to dead people? You see how irrational that is? There's no way the state is going to be able to enforce that. If multiple counties stand together and say, we're just not going to use these stupid voter rolls. We're going to clean up our own voter rolls, and we're going to use our own clean voter rolls. That's what we're going to do. But anyway, I got more to go. All right. let's, I'm having fun and I just skipped right over all my introductory slides, but you already know who I am anyway. Let's just jump ahead. All right, let's look at Oregon. Okay. You having fun? Thank you. God made me with a big mouth. Even when I was in first grade, they sent me to vocal therapy because I was always talking too loud. And they were afraid I was going to blow my vocal cords out. So my whole life, I trained for opera for many years. I mean, it's like it's crazy. So anyway, I could talk for hours. Doing it. Yeah, that's okay. All right, so let's just talk about your state for a minute because I want to set some context. It's so important that you understand what's wrong so that you'll understand what you need to do. If you know what's wrong, you know how to fix it. If you don't know what's wrong, how do you know what to do? All right, so I've shown you this graph. In fact, I showed it to you last year, so it's kind of, we can pick up where we left off. This is from 1960 up to 2024. This top blue line is how many people are in the state of Oregon who are voting age or more, voting age. So remember I told you had 3 million people? You can see that right here, 3 million people, and your population should start declining. So it's just a little under 3 million people. Now they are not all eligible to vote. That's how many 18 and older people you have. Some of those people are not citizens, some are felons in prison, they're not allowed to vote from prison, etc. Some people are incompetent, some people are in comas. But if 18, like your governor, Plato said the penalty for refusing to get involved in politics is you end up being governed by your inferiors. So you have all not been involved in politics, and now you're being governed by an inferior person. Any one of you, I think, I don't even know you. You'd all be better governors than the one you got. She's like one of the least popular in the country, if not the oldest. Yeah, crazy. Anyway, that's a whole other topic. Let's stay away from that. Too late. Okay. Anyway. So 1960 to present, this blue curve is your voting age population. It's been flat for about 5 years. Now this black curve is how many people are considered to be active voters in the state of Oregon. Active voters. And you'll notice in 1960, it was about 70% in your voting age population. And I can tell you from my experience, I've been modeling elections for 40 years. My first election I modeled was 1980, and I predicted every election, like every presidential election I predicted until 2020. I even predicted Trump in 2016, 17 months in advance when there were, 13 months in advance when there were 17 people in the primary. Remember that? There were 17 in line, Ted, Crook, Hillary, remember all that? The 17, 17 Republicans in the primary 13 months in advance, and I predicted Trump was going to be the winner. And it's the odds were 2-1. And like people are like, how do you do that? That's a whole nother day. Invite me back, I'll give you a math lesson. I've got all kinds of Fourier transforms and differential equations I use to model this stuff. It's fun. But that's a whole nother topic. Okay. So I can tell you from my experience that a clean voter rolls is about 70% of the voting age population. Got it? Now you'll notice that in the 60s, your voter rolls were clean, and then they got dirty in the 70s. But your clerks cleaned them up. See that? They got dirty, but your clerks cleaned them up. And then in the 1990s, they got dirty again, but then your clerks cleaned them up. Very good. That's when your clerks still had local control of your rolls. But then in 2014, something big happened in your state. That's when your Secretary of State said the counties don't keep their own voter rolls anymore. We're going to keep them centrally up in the cloud, and at the same time, we're going to start adding everybody who gets a driver's license, everybody who touches any government agency, you register your car, you get welfare, you go to jail, you could be a non-citizen and your kids go to school, you get put in. Any government agency you touch puts you into the voter rolls automatically. That's when that happens. So then your voter rolls shot right up past your population, so that you had more people in your voter rolls than you even had people available. Right? Really, this blue line is a highlight. Remember, it includes non-citizens. It should be lower. And this is, of course, when we talk to Judicial Watch about them to sue you. Right? It's a pretty obvious open and shut case that you're not following along. But I just want you to notice something while we're here. I don't want to talk too much about this today, but I want you to understand something. So the red curve is every 2 years, how many people voted in the general election. So presidential midterm, presidential midterm, presidential midterm. More people vote in presidential elections than midterm. So you can see that as well. I just want you to notice something. Here we are in the 1960s. If they hadn't inflated the voter rolls, you'd have 100% turnout right there. If you hadn't inflated the voter rolls right here, you'd have 100% turnout right there. If you hadn't inflated the voter rolls right here, you'd have 200% turnouts right there. That's crazy. What is the Republican Party of Oregon telling you? Oh, we want you to go out there and work on getting the NAVs. To convert to Republicans. That's a total waste of time. I'll explain it to you in a little bit. Oh, the people don't believe in our elections anymore. The turnouts are way down. Wrong. You have more people voting now than ever before. More people are voting than ever before. In fact, that's the problem. You have too many ballots coming in, but you don't know it. Why don't you know it? Because they don't tell you the number of people. They tell you the percent of registered voters. And the number of registered voters has surged irrationally, making your turnout percentages look low, when actually you have more people voting than ever before. Interesting. So turnout isn't your problem, or maybe turnout is your problem, but it's not necessarily the turnout you want to have, right? And a lot of people say, oh, Dr. Frank, we're auditing the election. We're finding the fraud. Oh, yeah? How are you doing it? We're going to do a recount. We tell them, it doesn't matter how many times you count the cash in the register. You can count the cash over and over again. You can count the machines. You can count it standing on one leg. Doesn't matter. What matters is how many of the bills are counterfeit. Doesn't matter how many times you count all those extra ballots that are coming in. What matters is, are they the real ballots from the real voters or not? And when you're mailing 30% extra ballots, littering the pavement with these ballots, that's your problem. A lot of times people say, oh, Dr. Frank, the machines are flipping ballots. We have a few cases where we can prove that happened. But for example, think about that Michigan graph. You've all seen it. They call it the F graph, where it goes up like this, and then it jumps at 11 o'clock and it goes on. Think about that. A jump, that's not flipping ballots. That's adding ballots. All right. So everyone wants to think that the machines are flipping. No, they just added more voters. And in the Michigan case, they added 156,000 new voters to the rolls and cast 156 ballots, all in less than a minute at 11 o'clock at night in Michigan. And we proved that in court. We even have videotape of them backing the truck up to the building with 156,000 ballots on a pallet with the street map. The radio stations were making fun of it. They were singing songs, ballots, ballots, all this stuff. Why is nobody in jail yet? Why is nobody in jail yet? Yeah, but you say nobody's in jail because you're not awake. And you're waiting for somebody else to put them in jail. Now, we did put somebody in jail a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you noticed, Lodi, California. But I want to tell you, my team in San Joaquin, I'd say they're rivaling you guys, one of the better teams in the country I've been working with. We caught a city councilman stuffing ballots. We caught him with 70 ballots on his kitchen table. I mean, it's open shut case, right? I mean, we got a conviction 3 years ago, like 40 felony convictions. We have them on. They didn't sentence him until 2 weeks ago, or like a month ago. I mean, it took 3 years to sentence him for his first term. The point is, there is zero incentive in our legislatures. Sorry, there's zero incentive there. There's zero incentive in your legal system to prosecute election fraud. Almost zero. Almost nobody wants to do it. Look what happens to Sidney Powell. Look what happens to John Eastman. Anybody who prosecutes gets penalized. I can show you state after state legislators that invited me in to do audits of their state elections for them and give formal testimony for their legislatures. Whoever did that, they're out now, because guess who got rid of them? The Republican Party. Yeah. The Republican Party is our biggest opposition. People want to, you're in Oregon, so you think it's the Democrats that are these evil, bad people. Well, yeah. But Kentucky, they have 105% of their people registered too. And John Adams is the Secretary of State there, and he's running 6 neighboring states elections. All red states, all dirty voter rolls, all central control of their elections. It doesn't matter whether it's red or blue. What matters is who's ever in control likes staying in control. That's why they like it this way. That's why nobody's going to jail. That's why there's no meaningful reform, because the people in control of the legal system, the people in control of our laws are in on it. They like it this way. They're complicit. They like the system this way. Okay, so you all understand this graph? It's on my YouTube channel if you want to copy it, get a copy easily that way. So now, remember I told you I go to these counties on the other side of the state, and they're like, "What are you doing here? Everything's fine." They think because they have honest people that they have good elections. That's just wrong. Let me show you. So, but this is from 1980 up to present. How many people every 2 years the state says are active voters in every county? So this is how many people are registered in every county, all 36 of your counties every 2 years. And Multnoma's big, and the other ones is your public here, Washington, here and here, and the small counties. So it's hard to see all the counties, yes? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them all on the same scale. I'm going to put them on a percent scale so you can see the shape of every county. And what you'll notice is in the 80s, it used to be random how many people were in the voter rolls in every county. But as soon as the state took over in 2014, every one of them took off. Oh, she says, I love that oh sound. I'm a teacher, right? And that, oh, yeah, the light bulb just went on. In other words, every county, there are no exceptions. Every county is centrally controlled. Yet the small counties think, oh, no, we're good. We have good people. No, it's centrally controlled. It doesn't matter where you are. Oh, and Dr. Frank, we only had a couple of hundred cases of fraud in our small county. That doesn't matter. Yeah, but as a percentage, do that percentage in every county in the state. Now you can control every election in the state. It's the same. Every county is the same. It's all centrally controlled. You follow me on this graph now? In that code graph? I'm going to show it tomorrow to the commissioners and see what they say. I mean, okay. Now, I showed you the whole state. Let's show you Washington County. So here's your population since 1980. Your voting age population looks like it's doing great. Now you're flat. Now you're shrinking. Right? You've been waning. We looked it up this afternoon, and you're still dropping. You're starting to wane. People are exodusing out here. They're getting out in the dog, right? Yeah, they're moving out. Yeah, by the way, I tell them don't do that. I just came from Idaho. You should see Idaho voter rolls. You should see their situation. And they're in a worse situation. You at least know you have a problem, right? They don't even know they have a problem. I was just in Coeur d'Alene 2 weeks ago, big Saturday presentation showing them, and they're like caught like deer in the headlights. Oh no, we're Idaho, Dr. Frank. We're not Oregon. Yes, you are. You just didn't know it. So they're way behind. So they're frantically calling me, and I'm getting out there to get some teams going there as well. It doesn't matter where you go. There's no escaping it. You can't hide it. And like I said, every state in the country, same problem. So here you guys, Washington County, you're starting to shrink. Notice that your voter rolls were pretty clean. Most of your career, well done. And when the state took over, what happened? That's when they surged up, yes? Notice if I bring the population line down next to you can see, does that make it obvious what's happened to you? Does that make it obvious what's happening to you? Your voter rolls have surged, and now you have all these extra ballots coming in that aren't supposed to be coming in. Yeah. See, does that make it pretty obvious? If I show you the percentage, you have about 30% too many people in your voter rolls, about 92,000 more than your population trend. That's not because you have a bad clerk. That's because the clerk is just using the state system. Who in the state is doing this? So your Secretary of State, what's his name? Tobias. Yeah. He's not sitting there going frantically adding people. The state doesn't do anything, right? Governments don't do anything. They hire people to do things, right? And so they pay an organization, notice ERIC, Election Registration Information Center, to take your voter rolls.
They hire sloths.
They hire sloths. They hire people. They hire sloths. That's funny. Coming from government. Okay. So They give the voter rolls to this organization, ERIC, but they also give all your driver's license information. They also give all your social security information and your health and human services information. They give all this information to an outside agency, which you can't FOIA. It's a non-government organization. And they collect that information from about 30 other states as well, and they compare. And so then they come back periodically, I don't know, maybe every month, and they say to the Secretary of State, gee, we compared your rolls with the rolls in Texas, and we noticed that a whole bunch of people in your state have moved to Texas. We think you ought to take those people out of your rolls. They give them the list. Then they also say, and by the way, we noticed a whole bunch of people have moved into your state as well from other states. Here's that list. We think you ought to add those people. These are not people who register to vote. These are people who the state is about to register to vote. And what happened is in 2014, like I showed you on the graph, that's the year your state decided we're going to control the rolls and we're going to start injecting people into the rolls. And so what's been happening is by policy decision, not by law, by policy decision, your secretary's been saying, yes, let's accept all the new additions and let's not remove all the recommended removals, which is why your voter rolls shot up and got dirty so fast. Did I answer your question?
Well, there's a lot more, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But that's the basic. He asked who's doing it. That's who's doing it. It's a policy decision by your state. They've decided they want to have dirty rolls.
So I guess which elected officials are responsible for those?
Secretary of State. Secretary of State's responsible, sir.
That's a drum we should be beating a lot more.
Yeah. So what happens if you beat the drum? I agree. You say we should be beating that drum. But if you go scream and yell at it, nothing's going to happen. And I can't tell you how many states I've met. Great grassroots teams all around the country. They do great canvassing. They find all these problems. They say, Dr. Frank, we did this huge report. Here's a copy, 60 pages. We took it to the Secretary of State. Nothing happened. If you're waiting for the Secretary of State to fix the system he likes.
Well, I'm talking about hanging the responsibility around their neck. I'm not talking about asking them to fix it.
Oh, good. I'm good at that. You mean like tar and feathers and pitchforks and torches and
I don't
pitchforks.
think the populace understands what's going on.
Yeah.
It needs to be understood.
Boom. And that's the point. That's the point I'm making to you tonight. Most people don't understand this is happening. The clerks don't even understand this is happening. I have to show them. And what will happen is a year ago, I testified before 5 minutes before your little, or spoke, I'm testifying, that's a funny word. I spoke to your commissioners. And afterwards, one of them, and he talked 2 weeks ago or a week ago, 8 years ago. Yeah. He said, oh, I heard Dr. Frank, and I went to his presentation and I went and talked to our clerk and I investigated all this, and it's all bunk. It's not, none of it pans out. Okay. What was it? He didn't use bunk, use the word. It's baseless. It was all baseless. Yeah, except that a year later, it's been ruled in court that I was dead on. Okay. Isn't that nice? Okay. So, but I'm baseless, right? Okay. And I'm showing you actual evidence. I'm showing you your own data. I'm going to have fun showing you your own neighborhoods in just a minute. Okay. The point is they don't even know. Your clerk thinks everything's okay. Because what they think is if they follow the checklist, they do what they're taught, they run the machines the way they're taught, everything will be okay. And it's easiest for them that way too. It's the least amount of work for them that way too. They just let everything go automatically. But what did I just say? That turns them into dumb terminals. They're not really doing anything. And if they look too closely, they might find something that they don't want to see. So it's easier for them if they I just have to tell you one story. I was in Missouri, the Show Me State. And I don't remember the name of the county, but I could see her face and her deputy. I remember sitting in her office. And I was with one of my team members. We were sitting there in her office. And I was describing the fraud in her county. And she looked at me with these really kind of squinty eyes. Oh, I have to tell you another story too. She looked at me squinting eyes. She says, I know the team, Dr. Frank. I know it. I've been doing this for years. There's too many ballots coming in. She says, I can't figure out how they're doing it. I've turned off all the automatic features in all the machines. I've turned off everything I could turn off. She says, I even keep records. And she brought out literally stacks of notebooks where she's handwritten and kept track of everything. She says, I just can't figure out how they're doing this, but I know they're doing it. And so I showed her how, and then you could see the blood drain from her face. And she says, okay, Dr. Frank, there's nothing I'm not going to be able to do this. Why is that? She says, because I have 29 years of service. Next year I'm retiring and I don't want to put my retirement at risk. So I looked at her deputy clerk who's right there, and she looked at me and blood drained from her face. She says, I don't want to be Tina Peter. That's what she said to me. And so this is the problem. Your clerks not only are staying in line, they're afraid to step out of line. And so there's a lot of dynamic in that. Yes, sir.
So with respect to what you just said, and in Michigan, there was a court case very similar to the Tina Peters case that was just decided where in Michigan, a county clerk refused to delete their system data and was I guess sued, or maybe even it was a criminal complaint, and she finally won that case. So can you, I know you know a lot about that. Can you talk just a little bit about that? And will that give us more visibility to really?
So during the 20 to 24, 2020 to 2024 region, it was really dangerous to do anything like this. I counted, there were for about 3 months there in 2021, there was a subpoena at my house almost every day. Somewhere in the country I was getting sued. It's lawfare against us. And Mr. Lindell, for example, started out when I first met him in March of 2021. He told me he had $30 million liquid he was going to spend on election integrity. Now he's $40 million in the hole, personally. Okay, he's basically spent everything. How did that happen? Lawfare. They're just suing the heck out of him. So during that period of time, we were all under attack, literally under attack. It was warfare. But now we're in a different situation, right? We've got air cover. We've got protection coming down. In fact, this is a, and I'm answering your question kind of in a roundabout way, but I think I'm addressing it. We have lawsuits going all over the country right now that are getting airtime because we don't have to hide, if that makes sense. I mean, why do you think they finally put this Shakir Khan, is his name in Lodi? Why did they finally put him in jail? Because we brought attention to the fact that they weren't prosecuting, and we let Mr. Trump know, and there were certain phone calls, and there you go. Now they put him in prison. So anyway, this is him last year in August. He says, Dr. Trump says, I'm going to lead a movement to get rid of mail-in ballots. Okay, that puts you guys straight in the crosshairs, right? Now you notice he didn't say I'm going to sign an executive order. He said I'm going to lead a movement, because he can't sign an executive order. It won't hold up to the Constitution. It'll get thrown out. I'm going to lead a movement to get rid of mail-in ballots, and also while we're at it, highly inaccurate, very expensive, and seriously controversial voting machines. Yes. So on and on. Here we go. Right? I can. And what's sort of fun about this tweet is he put it out a couple of days after Mike and I gave him some verbiage, and a lot of that is in there. It's pretty cool. But the most important thing, which I like to take credit for, but I don't have to, he said, I'm going to lead a movement. Okay. Where's the movement? Here. Do you now understand what your role is? You are the movement. He cannot do it by himself. He can't just sign an executive order and make everything better. If you're waiting for that, you've been conditioned into an American. America is a nation. It's an experiment in self-government. Each of us is supposed to be defending the Constitution. Each of us is supposed to be deploying the Constitution, and we've forgotten that. You have to remember that politicians don't start parades, they join them. We have to start the movement. We join the parade. And that's what you guys, this is why I'm so excited to be in Oregon, because you guys are perfect for this. We've got the lawsuits now under your belt. We've got the crappy voter rolls. You've got all this fraud happening because you have the worst system, probably the worst elections in the country. You can be proud. Okay. But because it's so bad, you're more awake. And so you're going to do something about it. And as you do something, as you step out and stand out, then we're going to have support from that level. Now, I'm not saying you're going to do lawsuits. The court system is still very corrupt. It's almost a waste of time to do lawsuits. But you don't need a lawsuit. We already got them done. We already got it proved in court that your voter rolls are illegal. We already got it proved in court your systems are illegal. So stop using them. You just need the will. and you just need the organization. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to organize you and make it happen. You had your hand up, young man.
I think the Tina Peters case in Colorado.
Yeah.
It's such a lightning rod, and I don't understand why it's not a civil rights situation.
It is a civil rights issue.
And so if she's freed and her tongue is free, that will inform the public as well as kind of calm down the fear. You mentioned that a lot of clerks may sense or feel.
I have every state I've been in, I hear her name. Every clerk says, I don't want to be Tina Peters. They did horrible things to her. They didn't just put her in jail. I could talk to you for hours of the things they did to her. Yeah. It's a bad situation. Trump's already pardoned her, but she's not out because it was a state conviction. And the state's control, and Trump's putting all kinds of pressure on the state. He took Space Force out of Colorado and put it in Huntsville. That's one thing. He's taken away their funding for their largest federal development in construction grant there. Yeah.
He needs to do a Venezuela.
He needs to do a
in
Venezuela.
Colorado. The guys jump in from the helicopters onto the prison building and go in there and get her.
Some guys and I the other night were having a beer after one of the events, and that's what I said too. So you and I are on the same page. And I think if you pull off one of these events carefully and brilliantly planned, like our men are capable, and women, our men and women in the military capable, I think we could probably get in and out of there before they knew what hit them.
It only took 48 minutes in Venezuela. It's going to take a lot less in Colorado.
Absolutely. And, you're dealing, no insult, but you're dealing with prison guards. You're not dealing with, paramilitary, top of the line operatives, right? Prison guards don't have that kind of training and, have their donuts and their coffee. And that's pretty good. Anyway.
Got this part of the video?
We don't want to give our strategy away.
Well, it's already public, and it's already been discussed openly. And Trump, he's pretty busy with the brand right this minute, but he's doing lots of stuff. I want to come back to that too. Go ahead.
She's a potential federal witness.
That's the example.
That's a reason to.
So I was just on the phone with Tim the other day, 2 hours. He's the attorney that Trump has assigned. The reason I'm involved is because I'm the guy who set it up. I'm the guy who did that in April of 2021, set up the whole thing. There's nobody who knows more about the Tina Peters situation than me. Yet I wasn't allowed to testify in her trial. And I have exculpatory evidence that could have, so the number one reason to take her out is it should be a mistrial because she was denied the ability to put in her exculpatory evidence, which is enough for a mistrial. But Titkin is trying, the DOJ has launched a lawsuit against the state of Colorado based upon lawfare of Tina Peters. That's now going to be a federal civil rights lawsuit. Now it's federal jurisdiction. Now she can be a federal whistleblower, and they've been trying that for months already, and it's not. I mean, they started that back in June or July last year. It's just not. It's not. They're not doing so hot in that category. So I agree. Let's do Venezuela on it. Yes, sir.
Suppose that we are able to have amazing turnover in our county leadership, and we are actually able to have someone in position to transition to a county controlled voter roll. Is there anything in Eric contracts or proprietary agreements that prevent us from using the voter roll data as a starting point?
No.
So
You want me to give it to you? You'll have a starting point today. Okay. And in fact, you just told me you got the ones from
May 1st?
May 1st. So we've got the voter rolls, and you're happy to start from there. Do you guys know what a PCP is? A precinct captain? PCP? What's the job of a PCP? Anybody know? Most PCPs look at you and they go, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, Dr. Frank. You know what? That's because their number one job was to clean the voter rolls for their precinct. But they have been conditioned out of that over the decades to the point now where they don't even know what their job is. So what we would do in your case is we would give you a copy of voter rolls. You'd have one volunteer in every precinct. You give everybody a copy of the voter rolls for that precinct. You run against the NCOA against it. People who moved away, post office records, National Change of Address Registry. couple of simple things we can run against it, take about 20% off without even trying. Couple of weekends work, knock on a few doors, you'd have clean voter rolls that you could use locally. It's not a big job, and you'd be done. A month from now, your county could have clean voter rolls for your election. But instead, your Secretary of State delayed cleaning the voter rolls until when? Until he mailed out all the ballots for the primary. I saw your hand, brother.
Yeah, I just came across this quote the other day. It's from Joseph Stalin. He said, "It is enough that the people know there was an election."
Did I just put that up there?
Yeah. Okay, so I guess the question, and you just answered it, is how do we get back where we don't have the Democratic supermajority at the state level counting the votes, and we get back to the people counting the votes in the individual?
So when he said Democrat, I immediately react to that. It has nothing to do with the Democrats. It's the Republicans as well. It's both. It doesn't matter whether it's just remember Hillary complained about it for 4 years, right? Remember Russia. You can have everything right, and you can still, remember her talk. It's not a Republican Democrat issue. It's whoever's in control, keep in control. And we have to take it back local. So how do we take it back local? That's my question to you, right?
Start the biggest counties, Multnomah, Washington, and Clackamas.
Starting with the smallest county. Everybody thinks top down. Stop thinking that way. The small counties are the easiest to flip. The smallest counties, now that doesn't mean that you aren't helping, but the small counties, 13 out of 15 of them already said they want to quit Oregon and join Idaho. It's easy to get them organized. Can you imagine if 13 counties all said tomorrow, we're not going to use the state system anymore? Can you imagine the earthquake of that? Yes, ma'am. I see you in the back.
They'll want to get rid of them.
So you say we can create clean voter rolls by doing our job as.
Yeah.
But then how do we get the state to let us?
Wait a minute. How do we get the state to let us what? Why are you asking the state to implement it? You implement it. Yes, you need me to explain what that means.
You remember her.
You're a explainer.
I'm a senator, exactly. So I'm just going through my slides. I just jumped around so much. I'm not sure if I told you everything yet, but I think I hit it up. But the answer is I call it the 7 steps. Okay. And the problem with most election reform work in the country is people are individuals doing something. And I always make the analogy. We are at war. This is 5th generation war against our country. General Flynn's been talking about it for decades. We've just all been asleep and not listening. He said, and so what happens is we have to act like we're at war. We have to behave like we're at war, or we're going to lose to our enemy who is behaving in a warlike fashion. They're well organized. They're well funded. They are acting in strategic moves, incremental moves, and taking over our country one step at a time. So as long as it's just this beautiful team over here, which I love, we have a great team here in your county. As long as that's all who's doing it, we're going to lose. You don't win. I always joke about it. If Canada invaded us tomorrow, what would you all do? Some people say we'd laugh. But if Canada invaded us, what would we do? A lot of us would run and grab our ARs and we grab our weapons and we run out there. But that's the wrong response, actually. The right response, if Canada invaded us today, is for all of us to show up here, bring our weapons here, lay the maps out, secure our perimeter, plan a strategy, and implement a strategy. Find other counties that are doing the same thing. Anybody who's been in the military knows I'm right. And we would drive those buggers back across the border. That's what we would do. If we are working alone, we lose. So stop working alone. I've got to show you. Okay, so it's 7 steps. All right, I got 3 threads going here, so I'll jump around a little bit. So you got to get connected first. If you signed up at the door, make sure you get connected because the team here needs your help, and we'll get you connected in. That's the first step. Second step is you get organized. We already got that. We got a small. Take this. I'm just going to read it because I have to brag on it. Small local team of selfless. You doing some running there?
Oh, I'm making a fortune.
Somebody the other day said to me, Dr. Frank, you're a grifter. Now, I haven't charged one penny for any of the things I've done across the whole country in 5 years. I told my wife, my beautiful wife, 43 years, 44 next month, said, I'm going to set my income aside for 6 months. We're going to save the country, and then I'll be back to work. It's a good thing we don't have a mortgage, and that she has a job. Or I'd have to charge. I couldn't afford to do this, but that's why we passed the hat. And thanks for my hotel room. You paid for my hotel room. Did I charge you anything to be here? No. We are selfless. We are serving our country. So selfless, like-minded patriots who believe strongly in the team objectives. Our objective is local control of our elections. That is our objective, local control of our elections. By the way, if people say get rid of the machines, that's not the right objective. Local control of our elections. You want to use machines at that point? Fine, it's up to you. Because you can open the back then. You can look in, you can do anything you want. You can use M&Ms for your elections as far as I'm concerned, as long as it's auditable and transparent and everybody can trust it. So you can do whatever you want. So local control. You need at least 7 core people, which we have. And we put together a team. So you guys all got a copy of this. I don't need to. That team is functioning well. We've come up with a strategy. We've made a strategy that fits your county, and we have implemented that strategy for a couple of years now. Very successfully, by the way. We are ready to burst. Now's when your role comes in. How many of you are going to be there tomorrow at the commissioner meeting? What time is the commissioner meeting?
What time?
10:30.
10:30? Everybody, we need bodies. We need bodies. And you don't have to say anything, do anything, just show up and be a body, okay? And then we need bodies to let them know we're real and we're coming.
But then you have to be
They need to
quiet.
know we're for real.
But then you have to be quiet so they don't kick you out.
Now, let me caution you there. Don't make the mistake of violating their space. Because if you violate their space, they'll take away your space. There's a famous movie Clements made, Professor Clements, you've seen it, let people go. There's a scene in there where he took the mic, that was in Bakersfield, Kerr County, in California. He took the mic and he wouldn't relinquish it, and people were mobbing the mic. I relinquished my 3 minutes, and then the moderator of the commissioners was saying, no, that's not how it works. You get 3 minutes, walk away. Well, because they did that, now those people are no longer just allowed to speak at the commissioner meetings. They've lost that venue. You're in their venue. So yes, maybe a little polite clapping, but don't crap in the pool. We all need to swim in that pool. Okay?
I hope that's a metaphor.
That's a metaphor.
Oh, good.
I'm a farm boy, forgive me. We need to keep that water swimmable. Okay, we need to preserve that. And actually, in the end, the commissioners are our friends because the commissioners are the ones that want to save money. The commissioners, maybe not. But
And there's
okay, I am in Washington County. Okay.
There's 3 new ones we can vote for
That's right.
and
Jenny?
tell everybody about it.
Jenny says- All right, so I'm having fun, but you get the idea. So there's a plan which we've got ready, but we're in this mode right now, step 5, where we're building the movement. Let me just read it to you. Success in this effort begins with unassailable evidence of local fraud obtained by your team. Hope we got some unassailable evidence.
Yes, we do.
Okay, we've been holding back because we've been waiting for some of the other counties to catch up, but we're holding back no longer. Okay, just last week was it? You talked about a certain address.
Oh, yes, it was last week. It was a non-existent address.
A non-existent address with how many registrants at it?
Well, and this voter roll, there's 417.
New record.
And so the county, your county executive, she was running the head moderator. She said, "Well, can you give me that address?" And Mary said, "No."
No.
Okay.
No, Mary said,
Maybe.
Mary said, "Maybe." Okay.
she really meant. no.
We've been holding back. How many dead voters do you have now?
Oh, I can't remember.
Okay, these are people who are dead, but they voted. Okay, we already have lots of people who have passed away and are still in the rolls and stuff. Okay, lots of that stuff. All of that evidence is about to come out, and they're going to be every week reading more into the public record actual cases of fraud, okay, which implicate not your clerk. It's not your clerk that's the problem. It's the system that the clerk is using that's being imposed upon you by the state. Our remedy is not to complain at the clerk. Our remedy is to tell the clerk, you can't use the state system anymore because when you're using it, you're violating our constitutional rights. You're disenfranchising us because every one of these fraudulent ballots is nullifying one of our real ballots. Okay, that's the strategy. And so if he refuses to comply, yes, then you get his butt out. Okay, you can replace it, recall him. We got the clerk out of Shasta County. I should show you that. This is just too good a news.
How'd you do that? I make a note.
How did we get the clerk out? Oh, that's a fun story. Oh, that's a fun story. I'll tell you how. So in Shasta County, 75,000 voters. We had one commissioner on our side. That was it. We met with him in private. We showed him the evidence. He was like overwhelmed. He's like, wow, this is real. This is a problem. And so I started presenting before their, just like I started presenting with you guys. They invited me back for a full 30-minute presentation. Then we had 2 out of their 5 supervisors on our side, 3 against, okay? And also the county clerk against. So we were trying to win over the clerk, but then we quickly learned she was actually subverting all of our work with the Secretary of State. So we decided we were going to get rid of her. Her name is Kathy Darling Allen. And I had just finished reading Rules for Radicals by Alinsky. And they have all these rules. And one of the rules is ridicule. Ridicule is a very powerful tool. You remember, Trump is master of ridicule. Lion Ted, Crooked Hillary, Sleepy Joe. Ridicule, he's good at it. Okay, he's very good at it. And so I was about to get on a radio program in Shasta County, and I was sitting there waiting outside the room where the radio interview is going to be. And I was just read Rules for Radicals. I was thinking, how can I ridicule Kathy Darling Allen? Kathy Darling, Shasta County ROV built a fence to keep transparency and elections history. Okay, she had built a fence around the building to keep people out. And I wrote 4 stanzas.
Oh my God.
And I walked into the radio call, and I had kind of a goofy grin on my face. And they said, "What's so funny?" I said, "I just wrote a song about Kathy Darling Allen. I sang it on the radio." By the end of that week, everybody in town was calling her Clementine. Okay. Ridicule works. And we started picketing at her house, picketing her when she goes, if you're a public official, you don't have the right of privacy. Did you know that? When you're public, you can follow your public officials to the grocery store. You can picket them when they're at their offices. You have that right. So we did. We used our First Amendment weapons. We just made her life heck. And so she went out on medical leave for anxiety and depression. And when she went out, it seems mean, but it's war. Okay? It's war. We're at war. We have to fight it like it's war. If we keep, playing with tiddlywinks, they're gonna nuke us. Okay, we gotta fight fire with fire here. We need to fight. So anyway, we got her to quit, and we at that point we had 3. That's a whole long story. I didn't want to get into it, but we actually then we got 2 of the commissioners to quit too. Same kind of strategies. We boycotted one of their businesses. I mean, we engaged warfare, and we got a 3-2 majority. January of 2023, they voted out the machines. March of 2023, they voted out the poll books. I mean, it was awesome. We were just smoking in Shasta County. But anyway, so what happened is we eventually got Clint Curtis in there. It was going to be Tina Peters, but she's in prison, so she couldn't be the clerk. He's the guy, if you remember, who testified before Congress in 2004. I think I've got it here. Yeah, he testified before Congress. He's the one who wrote the software to cheat the Republican election.
Yes.
In 2004, he wrote it for the Bush administration. And they cheated and got a senator into office.
49.
I thought it was just the Democrats that cheated. So he's a machine guy. He's a programmer, but he's now an anti-machine guy because he knows how bad they are. So we got him, and he's down. And I just have to show you the way the elections used to be a spiked fence around the building. Now this is what their election facility looks like. They, like you, all the ballots are mailed. And what happens is, this is all open. The picture doesn't capture that, but like on this side of the wall, it's all open. And you can just walk back over here, just back where they received the ballots. And let's say you as a citizen want to know how they're receiving the ballots. You just walk right in, walk right up. hey, what are you doing there? How's that going? What's that signature mean? Or, you know, does that signature mean? You can participate in the entire process. You are welcomed as a community member to witness every part of the process. So back here, they sort them into precincts, and they do got clear bins, so you can see everything all the time. Everything's under camera. Everything's being streamed online. Every citizen can watch at home what's happening to the ballots. And so they're sorted into batches of 50. Then this is the cool part. This is so cool. So what happens is there are cameras above these stations, and this is like this station here. There's a tabulator right here. There's a double tray here and a double tray here. So what happens is a citizen, not an official, a citizen walks back here, gets 50 ballots, walks back down, sits in the chair. You see these benches? Those are where people can sit and watch. You're welcome in there. They have so many volunteers, they have to have this overflow area for people to watch. You know, you notice how the Republican Party is always asking for volunteers for poll workers. Yeah, but you get to watch from. It's like sticking needles in your eyes. What good is that? It's like, and so the clerks will say, "Oh, we can't even get volunteers to do poll watchers." Well, yeah, who wants to stick needles in your eyes all day? Nobody wants to do that. So, but this, you can't. You don't have room for all the people. People want to participate. You just have to give them a way to meaningfully participate. So what happens? The citizen comes back here, grabs 50 ballots, walks over here, sits down in his chair, puts the 50 ballots in the tray. And this is so cool because this is all being filmed and streamed online, so every citizen can watch. And then one at a time, he turns over every ballot, so everybody at home can see both sides of every ballot. So at home, you can keep it in your own tally if you want. You can track it, right? And then, something's tickling me. It's the wire. I forgot. Okay. So after he's turned over every ballot, which is now streamed online and everybody's been able to see it, the official, because the law says that only officials can use the machines, takes that stack of 50 ballots and puts it through the tabulator. And on the top, there's a little LCD display that shows you the counts and everything. So that's all being recorded in real time too. So the 50 ballots go through there. And then when they're done, he sets them in this tray. Then another citizen, not an official, takes every ballot and turns it over again under the cameras. Why would we show the ballots before and after the machines? Because the machines are also printers. And the machines can change the ballots. Can you believe you guys are using machines that can actually print on the ballots? What kind of a stupid system is that? I know, it's dumb. But and by the way, while I'm on it, since I got to see inside your systems, remember I testified in that lawsuit. So I signed an NDA and I got to see everything in your election system. And I mean, everything. Your ballots are not anonymous in this county. Did you know that?
Yes.
I can know how every one of you voted on every race. And you would say, how do you do that, Dr. Frank? Did you notice your ballots have a little QR code on it?
Yep.
That QR code tells me your name and address. We asked the gal in court, are your ballots anonymous? And she said, oh, yes, they're anonymous. Well, what about this little QR code? Well, that QR code tells the printer which ballot style to print and where to send that ballot, how to address it. Well, wait a minute, but that gives away the name and address for the person. Yes, it does. Well, then it's not anonymous because the printer will know every ballot. Yeah, but the ballot isn't voted at that point, so it's safe. Okay, yeah, but the ballot images later, because every one of those ballots got scanned to the machine. Anybody who has the ballot images and has the code that can connect it, I can tell you how everybody voted. You're not anonymous in the state. By the way, just so you want to know. That's off topic. Anyway, so a citizen flips every ballot over, and then the county official puts them in the envelope and writes the official total, and they just keep doing that. By the way, because they have citizens helping, they've doubled their speed of processing the elections, because it used to be every official had to go back and do all the sorting of it. Now it's just the machines are constantly running. It's over. As soon as the polls close, everything runs so clean and fast. In the first year, Shasta County saved $250,000 on their election the first year, and they ran this way in 2024 for the general election. And I've been doing this all around the country, monitoring, numbers. And when I sit down with clerks and try to convince them that they're not in control of their elections, I always ask them, at the end of the day, at the end of the election, what do? Oh, Dr. Frank, I do all my checklists. Then I take that stick and I go over to the EMS, the election management system, and I plug that stick in, dumb terminal, and then what happens then? Oh, I rush home, turn the TV on because I want to see how the election's going to turn out. And I always ask them, do you ever go online to the Secretary of State website and check the numbers that are there to see if they match the numbers you turned in? Not one time in the entire country has a clerk ever said, oh yeah, I do that. Not once. So when I'm sitting with a clerk, I'll say, well, let's just check. And I bring the computer up. You've done this. And you look it up, and their jaws fall open. Wait a minute. Those aren't my numbers. No, they're not. The clerks don't even get this. They don't understand that they're not in control. They're not in control of the rolls. They're not in control of the process, the counting process, because they turn in. They're not in control of the reporting. They're dumb terminals, and they don't even realize that. We have to change that. We have to put back local control. Anyway, that's what it looks like to have local control. That's pretty cool. Trump's been, he's about to announce this as an additional security feature we can add to elections all around the country. Yeah, somebody had their hand. Yes, sir.
I'd be real curious how much more popular Trump was in the Shasta County in 24 than 2020. I bet it was a big jump.
It's about 3-1 MAGA there in Shasta. Yeah, very conservative.
But I bet 2020 didn't show 3-1.
Oh, I hear you. Yeah, I don't know. I have to go back and check.
I bet it was
Yeah,
low.
yeah, it's fun. Okay, so there's so much I could talk about. Let me hit before I want to show you how am I doing on time. I'm doing okay. I want to save at least 10 minutes to show you on voter rolls and have you look up a couple of them so you can see how bad it is. I just want to wrap up something to you. I want to tell you the truth. I want to tell you what I really think is going to happen to our country in 2026 in the midterms. And it's an ugly thing. But I don't know if you've noticed that Trump is almost every week announcing something with our elections. You notice that? There's a reason for that. He's laying the groundwork for what he's about to do. And if you look at his executive orders from 2018, he assigned 2 executive orders. One of them was to look into the 2016 election, and he put Pence in charge of that committee. And Pence, yes, dear.
Here they are.
you know those executive orders? Yeah. To put Pence in charge of investigation, and 6 months later, he disbanded the committee. Nothing to see here, folks. Let's move along. So that's how we knew that Pence was not on our side. And that's when Trump started Space Force, because that allows us to monitor the elections. Okay. So then in 2018, he signed the second executive order on elections, number 83, gives the executive branch the authority to nullify an election with foreign interference.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Which is why you'll notice last year, Kash Patel announced, this was in June, that outside of Detroit in 2020, in October, right before the election, the FBI seized 1 million fake driver's licenses and 1 million fake ballots corresponding to those fake driver's licenses, all made in China.
Wow.
Now, that is just one example of many that we have. And those of us working on the inside in December of 2020 were expecting Trump to nullify the 2020 election because we had all of the evidence we need of foreign interference. We had the communication recordings, we had everything we needed. And it wasn't me, but there were several people that were really mad at him that he didn't nullify the election. I wasn't ever mad at him. I trusted him. I think he's got his heart in the right place. If there's anything Trump wants, I've been with him a few times. Been with him in Mar-a-Lago and up at his golf course, Bedminster, when his hair was all crazy. He just came off the golf course and spoken at a couple of his rallies. So I know him pretty well, and I just have to tell you, his number one goal in life is he wants to lie on his deathbed and say, "I saved the country," and then die. That's what he wants. He wants that more than anything. He's not going to let the country go down.
He wants to be on Mount Rushmore.
He wants to be on Mount Pearson. Yeah, there is that side of him, isn't there?
Unless it's been,
But you know that's my kind of narcissist. You know, the guy that wants to save the country. You know, I'm good with that. Okay, so remember what happened in 2018? We lost the midterms, and what's the first thing the House did? They impeached him. Okay, and then we had that whole circus. Do you think he's going to let that happen again? The first time he didn't cancel it because there wasn't one legislature in the country that would nullify. I was working with a couple of the legislatures trying to get Pennsylvania and Florida in particular, trying to get one of them to say, yeah, we're going to decertify our election, and then Trump was going to nullify the election. He didn't want to be the only person in the country nullifying the election. And the people were all standing around, duh, what just happened to us? We didn't know, right? Okay, but we're not that way anymore, are we? We're awake. We're awake, and we know what we're doing. We've got teams like this all over the country. We're ready now. We're ready. We're gonna do some stuff with this midterm. This primary, big time in your county. Get ready. We're gonna need your help. We're gonna need boots on the ground to help with this. Okay.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
Oregon mailed ballots to 16-year-olds and illegal aliens. How much did that negatively affect our election here in the state of Oregon? And what can we do about it?
That's what I'm here for. I'll show you. What's that? I'm not ignoring you. I'll come back.
You were talking about the upcoming primary.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've been seeing on social media is hold on to your ballot until the very last day. And
Do not vote early.
Do not vote early.
If you vote early, you give away everything. You give.
Show them your cards.
Remember, all the tallies are available. You're telling everybody how many ballots they need to stuff and do stuff. And when you turn in your ballot, don't turn it in by mail. Deliver it in by hand. And when you turn it in, say, check and see if you've already received a ballot from me. Okay?
Why are the Republicans telling us to vote early?
And so then, why are Republicans telling you to vote early? Because their head is where the sun don't shine. No, the Republicans are telling you to vote early because it saves them money. Oh, we know who to call now. Oh, we don't have to send out mailers. We know everybody who's voted. No, you're giving away everything. You're telling the enemy you're in a war, and you're telling the enemy exactly where you're going to attack with how many troops you have. Don't do that. That's just dumb. You're giving away your elections already. Don't do it any worse than you are already. Keep it to the last minute and turn it in person. Make sure people say, well, how do I know my ballot was counted, Dr. Frank? Well, I went online and checked. Come on, how gullible can you be? Okay, how do you know your ballot was the one that was counted? How do you even know it was the one in the system? I'm a programmer. Programmers totally get this. That's just like preposterous. Yes, sir.
I don't know how many people got the email about a half ago. I got an email from the county clerk saying they had mailed the ballot.
Yes, April 29th they went out.
Yeah, I got my ballots today.
You didn't get yours.
I received that email.
You didn't get the email. I'm sorry. He never received it before. Oh, it's new. Okay, something's new. All right. I already told you about Venezuela. I already told you about Fulton County. All these things are happening for a reason. He's preparing us. So I've already run the numbers. I'm a modeler. I already predicted the election. We're going to lose big time in the midterms. That's normal. Whoever wins the president, the other party wins the midterms. That's pretty common. And all the trends, I could spend another half an hour showing you all the trends and showing you all the math. The midterms are an ugly shape. Do you think he's going to let that stand? Do you think he's going to let himself be impeached again? No way. He's just going to say, here's the foreign interference and nullify it. That's what's going to happen. That's what I think is going to happen. So I'm just telling you the truth. I could be wrong, and I'd be delighted to be wrong. And I'll be the first one to say, yep, I was wrong. Hallelujah. I actually thought Trump wasn't going to win in 2024. But God gave us a miracle. God gave us Kamala as an opponent. That's the worst candidate in the history of my life. I can show you the graphs for every state. She underperformed everywhere. There's nowhere that she did well. The Democrats didn't turn out for her, and even with all the cheating, it still wasn't enough to pull it out. Yes.
Since it's up there, Fulton County is just huge. What's going to happen?
What's the deal on Fulton County?
I know what you're asking. So there's something else that I haven't talked about. And I don't want to get far afield because nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. And everybody's waiting for something to happen. Sort of like, why don't you keep waiting for the Epstein files? Yeah. Those people are all controlled. I'll tell you one story, and then I got to move on. I was sitting with Patrick Byrne a couple of years ago. Actually, it was 22. Man, time flies. We were having dinner, and he was explaining to me how he set up the sting on Hillary Clinton with Afghanistan. I don't know if you're aware of that story, but he's the one who set up the sting where Hillary Clinton took an $18 million bribe from Afghanistan in exchange to sell them a bunch of yellow cake, a bunch of uranium. She sold us out.
Yeah.
Okay. We have all of that documented. That's like open and shut cases. She should be dangling from a rope. That's treason. She should be hanging from a rope. So I said to Patrick, I said, I don't understand. I said, you've got all the goods on her. Why is she hanging from a rope? And he looked at me like I was a rube, because I really was pretty still naive at that point. And he said, you don't prosecute your assets. She's now an asset. She's controllable. But she's also controlling them, because everybody's got the goods on everybody. And I could talk about sex trafficking, which is like now larger. The child sex trafficking industry in America is now larger than the illegal drug industry in America. And there are children, we spend more raping kids than we do taking illegal drugs now. That's what's going on in our country. And all those people have pictures of each other, and they're all controlling. It's like you telling me, I'm telling you, we're all going down together. There's some stuff. Watch with Comey. Watch with Comey. Comey's turning. Comey's going to turn state evidence.
If he lives.
If he lives. Yeah. We're off topic, aren't we? But this is the world we're in. Go ahead.
Does this ruling from the Supreme Court about the gerrymandering of the district?
Yeah, redistricting on racial lines.
Does that play into this?
Yes, because there are about 20 seats in the House that can be changed by changing redistricting. Right now, there are districts that have been gerrymandered in favor of Democrats because of racial lines. And if you undo those, it gives us 20 more seats we're likely to win. And so it could be a miracle. But as it stands right now, the lines are not looking good. Okay, can I get back on topic?
Oh, okay.
Are we having fun? Yeah. So I don't think, I'm not counting on any lawsuits, is my point. The lawsuits, it's hard to get anybody with lawsuits. Besides, they take forever, and that's not a problem. All right, while I'm talking here, let me get this up and running here. I forgot how big I should have opened it beforehand. I meant to, but I was talking to people. Can you tell I like to talk?
And we've got to listen all the judges.
God made me this way. All right, this file is opening. It's a big file. What it is it has 6 copies of your Washington County voter rolls. And it has everybody who's been removed and everybody who's been added. Each time there's a new copy of the voter rolls. It's like, I call it a complete set. And then what I've done is I've taken the most recent set and I add back in everybody who was deleted from the earlier set. So it's like a master list of your voter rolls for the last 6 years. And then I sort that by precinct and then by address. And then you can have your neighborhood. And you can look at everybody in your neighborhood and every address in your neighborhood. And you're going to be shocked what you see in your own neighborhood. And what I'm going to be asking your team to do is I'm giving them this file. And they're going to chop it up into pieces. And they're going to give you your file for your neighborhood. And you're going to look in your own neighborhood and go, what? That person's passed away. We just mailed them a ballot. What's that? This person moved away 5 years ago. We're still mailing them ballots. This person's been dead 10 years, and they've been voting in the last 3 elections. And we have those kinds of evidence. You are the best. What I've learned around the country is we find the fraud way faster, just at the people looking in their own neighborhoods. And that has this amazing extra help. The extra help is, you know, Mary and Jill testified 2 weeks ago, but you know what? You're whiny now. They don't listen to them anymore. They're just the whiny locals. If 10 brand new faces show up and they read fraud from their own neighborhood, and you start doing that every week, they cannot tolerate that. You're going to be reading into the public record cases of fraud every week from citizens showing that your voter rolls are bad, showing that your elections are corrupt, that people are stealing your ballots. Yes, sir.
Are you breaking those down by precinct?
Yes. And we'll give you your own precinct in your own neighborhood. And what we're really doing, if you think about it, is we're building a movement. And it's working. It's trying.
Are you giving a copy to the sheriff and have it in there?
So the sheriffs are important in your state. In fact, your state is still open, and I forgot to pick up the file. You have the best sheriffs in the country. I don't know if you know that. You have the best sheriffs. You can have their own magazine. And they're still constitutional, which means they have the authority. Where the county line begins, they are essentially God. No one can arrest the sheriff in your county except the coroner. The coroner can arrest the sheriff. And in many of the counties I'm in, the coroner and the sheriff are the same guy. They're the same guy. So no, that person inside of his county is untouchable. Okay, good. So your sheriffs are important because I was up in Michigan a few years ago, and a young man, he's a high school kid, came to me, Dr. Frank, I'm going to be a policeman next year. And I said, he's graduated from high school. I said, why do you want to be a policeman? A policeman enforces the mayor's will on the people. I said, you should be a sheriff. A sheriff swears an oath to defend the citizens against the law. The sheriff swears an oath to defend your constitutional rights. You want to defend the people. And he kind of looked at me cross-eyed a little bit. A few days later, I was speaking at another county in Michigan, and he was at the meeting. He went, Dr. Frank, I'm going to be a sheriff. That's great, because our constitutional rights, that to me, if you want to protect people, that's it. So your sheriffs are constitutional sheriffs. They have the ability to interpose on your behalf. So let's say that your governor says you have to turn in all your guns. What are your sheriffs going to say?
No.
Not in our county. I'm not going to enforce that in my county. Or if your governor says we're going to force you all to wear masks. Did your sheriff stand up and defend you? Well, maybe he's wimp.
They didn't enforce it in the parade at the gas station.
Okay. Do you see where I'm going with this? Your sheriff's job, I got you. Your sheriff's job is to interpose and defend you. If the state says we're going to take away your guns, you say, we're not going to comply because you don't have to comply. It's a violation of your constitutional rights, right? Well, guess what? If we can prove that your voter rolls and your election system are inserting illegal votes into your elections, every one of those ballots is disenfranchising you from your constitutional rights. Every one is nullifying one of your rights. And if your county commissioner say, well, Dr. Frank, you only showed us 10, that would be like saying, well, there were only 10 murders last year in Washington. You know, that didn't change the population much. No, every ballot matters. Every ballot is paid for with blood. Every ballot is our constitutional voice being nullified, every fraudulent ballot. So we understand it when, we understand it when the governor says, give us your guns. We tell him pound sand. We tell them which end you want first. You know, which end do you want? You know, come and take it. We say no. But somehow, when the government says, give us your ballots, we say, okay, what's wrong with you? Same thing is wrong with me. We've been conditioned into this. We don't have to comply with an unconstitutional order. All we lack is the organization. All we lack is the will and the knowledge. You had your hand.
Did not elect our sheriff.
He was appointed?
He was appointed by the county commissioners on a mid-term, mid-thing, and several opportunities to bring her forward.
Sheriff Caprice Massey.
She's not.
Not elected. So she's actually not constitutional then, because she wasn't elected.
No, that's not right. Yeah, she was in the last election.
Has not had a true constitution.
Wow. So you haven't had anybody defending your constitutional rights then? Except you. Huh. If I'm walking down the street and somebody's molesting Mary in the alleyway, do I call 911 and then leave? No.
She was in
The former sheriff stepped down midterm. She was appointed.
That's okay for once.
And then she was elected during.
Oh, well, if she's elected, then she is constitutional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I made her aware of what you just said, she was surprised.
Surprised what?
Has now changed her attitude.
That she has constitutional power? The sheriffs don't even know.
Didn't even know.
They don't even know they have that power.
That's right.
So a lot of times when I sit with the sheriffs, I'm teaching them. It's crazy. Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask you about
Are you having fun?
what can be done for getting the sheriffs to monitor in real time election processes, making sure that they are not fighting the chain of custody, because it's a lot easier to stop something that's going wrong in process instead of having all the votes cast and all the news shut down, and now you're talking for lost dog instead of taking care of it.
So what did I tell you the major problem was?
This problem I create.
So how is the sheriff going to stop that? The ballots have already been mailed out. Nothing really he can do about that. I suppose he could supervise the signature verification process. You know, maybe, but that's a lot of ballots to check out. 400,000 of them. It's a lot of manpower that he doesn't have. What I find is sheriffs balk at this, which is why we don't ask the sheriffs to do anything at this point. At this point, all we do is bring them the cases of fraud. They sign case numbers. We read those into the formal record during the county commissioner meetings. Actual cases of fraud we read in. That's all we ask the sheriffs to do at first. Later, when the county says we're not going to comply with the unconstitutional, illegal system of the state, the sheriff can then link elbows with the other sheriffs. I got about 10 sheriffs so far in your state that are ready to link elbows on this. We're doing pretty good in that category. I don't expect your commissioners to suddenly come to Jesus. I don't expect that. But other commissioners in your state have already, and we're already organized. That's big. All right. So let me just show you your own voter rolls. Remember, I told you what I have is I have a summary page here, and you're never supposed to show tables. Please forgive me. You're never supposed. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 copies of your voter rolls, spaced a year apart. I've got your population up here. Your cumulative churn. I didn't even talk about all this stuff. Gosh, I just skipped over so much stuff because we were having too much fun on questions. I think I have to. I'm not going to stop this because I don't want to have to read it.
You're going to ask something, aren't you?
I have to go.
You've got to do that.
I have to show them fraud because they're not going to understand. I have to
That's
show you.
all they're trusting.
So give me a second. I'm going to go back to this. I skipped over something you've got to understand. You don't understand, you're not going to understand what I'm about to show you. Okay, come on, catch up. Here we go. Let's see. I need to teach you a word called churn. Shift F5. All right, so churn. So let's say your county has 100 people in it, and 10 people move out, and 10 people move in. That's 20 changes to your population out of 100. We call that a 20% churn. With me? Not a hard number. How many changes were there? What percent of the total is that? With me? Yes. Okay. What did I say? I said that healthy voter rolls should be about 70% of the voting age population. That's a healthy voter rolls. And over the years, over the following, say, this example has 4 more years. Over the years, people die, people move away. There's a natural churn that's healthy. It's a few percent a year. That's a natural thing that should be happening. But in your state, something else is going on. In your state, they've inflated the voter rolls right up to the limit and beyond. And what's happening is they're constantly churning those extra names. And what that does is it gives you a constant supply of active voters who you're mailing ballots to, who don't even know they're in the rolls a lot of times. And then they remove them a couple years later, and then they add a couple, and they remove a couple. And so about 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I was here working with the teams. Yes, sir.
So when they're doing that, it makes the math you've been showing us that you do look pretty mild. Who's doing that?
That's Eric. Eric's doing that.
Okay, so who's running that?
That's an NGO started by Soros in 2006.
Because that's a lot of calculations and a lot of management.
And it's a simple algorithm. And we already put the algorithms into the public record in December 8, 2021 in the Wisconsin legislature.
Chinese are good.
It was written by CTCL in collaboration, so that's Zuckerberg's organization, the Zuckerbucks, in collaboration with the clerks in Wisconsin.
And what happened?
The legislator, her name is Janelle Branch, and she's a state senator. The Republicans got rid of her. That's what happened.
And they just pushed it under.
They pushed it under the rug.
Robin Voss.
Robin Voss. Oh my goodness!
We're from
Don't get me started. I can tell you so many stories. I've met with 24 secretaries of states. I've testified before a dozen legislatures. I've been like all over the country doing this, thinking that was the way to fix it. And like most people, I thought that's how to fix it. Top down. Nope. Bottom up. We're the solution. All right. So you all know what churn is now, yes? Yes. I needed to show you that. Okay. Now, when I go back to this other thing, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Okay. So back to your spreadsheet. Okay. So in January of 21, your total voter rolls had 437,000 people in it. By the way, your total voter rolls now has 491,000 in it. 5 years later. Wait a minute. I thought your population was going down.
You have some extra time, so you don't.
Oh, I have some extra minutes, so I have to feel rushed.
You don't have to.
Thank you. Y'all, if you want to leave, you can, don't offend me. But I'm getting to the good stuff.
Yes.
Although it's all good, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, in other words, wait a minute, your population's going down, but your rolls went up by about 10% over that period of time. Now, what your clerk sees, there's 437,000 people. He looks a year later and they have 449,000. What does he think? Okay, we went up 12,000. No, you went down 21,000 and up 34,000. He doesn't see those big swings. He only is adding and removing a few. This is who's being removed. And don't believe me, I've got the list right here. Every person who was removed and every person was added. Okay, I've got it all worked out. That's why that's such a big file. Okay, next year, remove 23,000, added 37,000. You notice a pattern there? Next year, remove 21,000, added 35,000. Are you noticing something?
Adding more.
Every year, it's the same amount. And by the way, it's the same in every county.
It's like dieting.
You get it?
That makes it good.
And so, all the way over here, so if I take this most recent copy of the rolls from Mark, and I add back in everybody who was removed, now I have a master list. Got it? So instead of only having 491,000 in the master list, I have 610,000. That's how many people have been in your rolls in the last 4 years. Now, if I summarize that, your voter rolls have changed 2/3 in 5 years. Did your population turn over? Did you have a churn of 2/3 of your population? No. Your voter rolls churned 2/3 of your voter rolls.
You call them people, but there aren't people.
They are real people.
Where are those people?
They are people who are passing through. They are people who are not citizens. They're real people. You can find them, but they're not. They're in and they're out. They're in and they're out. And they're
The nursing home.
they're all over the place. We've done studies all around the country.
Yes.
People want to think that they're not real, but they are. We always find them they're real, but they're just they're not really there. They're not really not supposed to be there. They're in that top 30% who never wanted to vote anyway. So that's churning your rolls, and half of that churn is with NAVs, non-affiliated voters. Half, and what that means is when you get a driver's license as a 16-year-old and they say, you want to be in the rolls? Yeah, they put you in as a NAV, a non-affiliated voter, because you didn't specify whether you want to be a Republican or a Democrat, something like that. Or if you miss 2 elections and they mail you a postcard and you don't reply, they change your status to a NAV. There are all these things that make NAVs, and those are those are people that are just in your rolls. And I think I already told you the story of the leader of the party. I already told you that story, maybe. Yes, ma'am.
Is it consistent down to the precinct level? Consistent percentage?
Yes. She asked me if that's a consistent percentage in the precincts. The reason I paused is because I have graphs of that. Do you know me now? I graph everything. I dig into it. It's crazy, but it's how I know what I know, right? And it's how I'm showing you what's. So you guys got a feeling, but the thing that's worrisome to me is not the fact that your rolls have churned that much. The fact that's worrisome to me is 1 in 6 of the people who voted in 2020 in Washington County are no longer in your rolls. 1 in 6. Did you lose 1/6 of your population? No. And those are people who voted.
Yeah.
1 in 5 of the people who were registered have been removed. But 1 in 6 of the people who voted have also been removed. Now, I just want you to see how dirty your rolls really are. So let's just do this. So I'm just going to look somebody up. Who wants to give me your address?
Anybody in the audience?
Yes, you first, then you. Yeah.
5356 Northeast Harrow.
Northeast Harrow.
Yeah, HAROWST.
There you are. That's you?
Yep.
Okay, so I see you here.
Yep.
I'm just going to highlight this.
I should have second one down.
So there are 4 people registered at your address. How many people live there? 1.
Bingo.
Now, what did I tell you? This never fails. Why? Because I'm told you it's 30% too many in your rolls. That means that a third of the names on this page don't belong there. It's everywhere. Okay, now let me just kind of summarize this a little bit so you understand what I've just shown you.
Yeah, but does she know any of that?
Yeah, they're former owners.
Do you get those ballots?
Oh, no, let's talk about that. So remember, I have 6 copies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 copies of the voter rolls. This is their status in each copy. Active or not there at all or inactive. So I'm showing you 6 years of history real quickly. And the rolls just right there. It makes it super easy. And then this is whether they voted in the general elections. So if there's nothing, that means there weren't mailed a ballot and nothing happened. If they were mailed a ballot and didn't return it, an N comes back. If they were mailed a ballot and they did return it, a Y comes back. So yes. And then this special column, this is that they voted in Washington County. Because sometimes people move into the county from other counties and their voting district comes with them. And I want to distinguish whether they voted here or somewhere else. So that's what that. This is, just ignore this for now. But the propensity, this is how many elections over here I have recorded that a person voted. This is their age as of 2020. And then you can see the names and address. Now what I've done is, you notice how they're shaded? Light, dark, light, dark, light, dark. It makes it easy to see addresses quickly. So you'll notice that 4 people are at their address. See how quick that is to see? All right, so at your address, there's only 1 active voter right now, and it's you. And you're 58 now. And you're looking good for 58. Okay. And so what I did, I picked 1 year. I had to pick 1 year for reference because I have 6 years. So I picked the 2020. So if you look in here, you find somebody under, here's somebody who's 13. Okay. Yeah, but they were 13 as of 2020. They're 18 now or 19 now, and they didn't get put in the rolls till recently. So I just had to pick 1 year to keep it from being confusing. So 1 year is the reference year. So now your residents, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 people in the rolls. Well, actually, one of them just got taken out this last year. So this person finally got taken out. Okay, but the other 2 didn't. they're still listed in the rolls as inactive. And they were already supposed to be removed because they missed 2 federal elections already.
They're out of the state. So what is the probability of those 2 inactives becoming active again?
All they have to do is call in and say, I want a ballot, and they're immediately active. Or if they accidentally touch some legal system, like they go to jail, or they call in about their social security or something, then they'll become active again. They're automatically active. So now, did I see any fraud here? No, I don't see any fraud. And I see that you're a good voter. Way to go. In fact, you voted a lot. You voted 8 times. So I got over here, and I can scroll over there and show you, but I'm trying to keep this simple for the big group. You've got all the elections over there. Okay. So I just showed you the general elections here just for simplicity, but there's also the primaries and the other stuff. So that's one example.
I will mention something though. There's a small anomaly on that record. You want me to tell you about?
What is it? You're not really 53 in 2020.
I was. I did not vote in 2020.
Uh-oh.
Yes, you did.
I did not vote in 2020, and I can 100% tell you.
She sounds like she needs to talk in front of the Washington County Commission.
Somebody used your name
Yeah.
and cast a ballot.
That's actually information I wanted to get to the county.
I told you this was everywhere in your rolls, and I have. And the very first person I looked at, we found 2 people that were supposed to have been removed and haven't been removed, and we found 1 case of fraud. Okay, the very first address we looked at, that's going to go in your fraud category.
No, it is.
Yeah. Okay. But if she had looked at that by herself, she wouldn't have known that. Which is why you have to help. We're going to give you your neighborhoods. You look in your own neighborhoods. You're going to turn in massive amounts of fraud. But it's more than just finding the evidence. Now you are educated and you know it's real. It's not, well, Dr. Frank came and told us this and this and this. No, in my own house, I found a case of fraud.
Personal.
It's personal. Yeah. And when you have 100 people standing up in front of your county commissioner saying, this is personal, this is in my house, this is in my neighborhood, we will not tolerate this anymore. Do you see the difference? Do you see that that's a much different thing than waiting for Trump to fix something from DC? Yeah.
And you go to New York, it's a Democrat, they get pissed off too.
Oh, are you kidding? They don't like it. When people find out that people are voting using their names, they're unhappy. This is not a Republican Democrat issue. Win them over. Yes, ma'am.
I moved from Washington.
Let's just look you up.
To Clackamas County.
What's your address? Are you in Washington now?
I'm in Clackamas.
So you won't. Oh, well, let's just see if you're still in Washington. What's your address?
14742 Rosario Lane. Rosario.
Couldn't find you. So it's out of the rolls. So they took you out. Wait, you must have moved a while back.
It was 2 years.
Huh.
I moved
I'm surprised then. Did I miss 14742?
Yeah.
I think you did it wrong.
It's been a couple years.
Because I had the rolls back to 2021.
I bet it's Southwest Rosario.
Yeah.
Oh, Southwest Rosario. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Are you there?
I bet you're there. I bet you anything.
My husband and I, are we off?
So Karen and Steve.
You haven't voted for a while.
Except it shows you never voted.
Well, we did.
You were active in 2023, and that's the only time you were ever active, and that's the only time you ever. That's the only record they have. That's the only record.
They don't like the way you vote.
Yeah, that's right.
So that could be a case of voter
Since
suppression.
they marked the ballots now on the outside, they probably threw hers away.
There you go.
They know you're
Okay.
Republican.
I'm 2 for 2. I'm 2 for 2.
We drove and took them to the.
No, you have 0 ballots recorded in your names. Oh, I'm 2 for 2. In the very back, she was next. Control find 1-1. Yes. Northwest. KENC.
Yeah,
There you are. That's a strange last name. Oh, wait a minute. 3 of all to you?
Wow.
You only have one boy in the rolls.
Oh, yes.
Well, there's only one boy in the rolls. That's interesting. So maybe that was added since March of 2026. Did he just turn 18 or something? That's it. That's what happened. Okay, so your anomaly isn't here. Your anomaly is for some reason they felt the need to send you multiple copies of the ballot. So it isn't enough that they're mailing ballots to people who they shouldn't be. They're also double mailing and triple mailing. Somebody sent me a text today on my Facebook page, well, not a text, but a picture on my Facebook page showing that they've received 6 ballots for the 2 people at that residence.
My mom's friend found 9.
Look at all that money you're wasting. Those are costing you between $5 and $10 a piece because not only are they being mailed out, so you have to pay for printing and mailing and processing, but a lot of them are coming back, so they cost you double. Yes, ma'am.
So all those 3 ballots,
Non-affiliated, it says. Yeah. Yeah. The NAV, so you have a Republican, that's you, and then he's a NAV, so he's put in automatically probably. And then Victor is an independent. Yes. Yes, gotcha. When they switched, it changed things. Yes, very good. I'm 3 for 3. Okay, I'm not even trying. Do you see that I am not like cherry picking? Do you understand? Everywhere you look is a disaster in your rolls. Why are you using that?
Every single where.
Yes.
And everybody's unique.
And yes, exactly.
Every situation.
So a lot of times, as you know, I work with data teams, and I love them because I'm a data person myself. A lot of times, I'll say to them, you know, this is what I want you to do. I want you to divide it up and give it to people in the communities. But I give them the data, and you see how addicting it is. And they kind of get, oh, I'm finding it just fine, Dr. Frank. I don't need the community to help me. Yes, you do. You do. Divide it up. But they've been doing this for about 2 years, and they are rolling in fraud. Okay, 5 years. Sorry, I'll take it back. Let me give you one example that I learned from them that I've been talking around the country to everybody, and it goes like this. I was in Clackamas County, and they were having trouble finding dead voters. And well, I said, what are you doing? He said, well, we're using, at that time, this was the most recent one. We're using the most recent copy of the rolls, and we sorted them from oldest to youngest, and we started to look them up. That's what you told us to do. I said, no, that's not what I told you to do. But anyway, they weren't finding any dead voters. Next day, I was with you guys, remember? We were in that little hotel conference room. And you gave me strawberry or berry pudding or something.
Yeah.
Raspberry pie. Oh, that was good. I remember that. Yes. And I said, how's it going, guys? And they said, oh, we're finding all kinds of dead voters. Oh, yeah? Well, explain it to me. Well, you found people that died 2011, 2012, several of them. And then when they died, they didn't vote for a while, a couple of years, but then they started voting again. Okay? It's Lazarus. It's Lazarus. And they started voting again. And how many of those do you have? She can't remember, but it's not insignificant. Okay. So in other words, but what was different about what they were doing versus what Clackamas is doing? Clackamas was only using the most recent. They were finding people who died in 2011, 2012, didn't vote for a while, then voted, and then after 2023, they were removed. So if you're only using the most recent copy of the rolls, you're going to miss it. How are they being removed? With the churn. The churn is a built-up cleaning up the evidence after the fact. It's like, you're on Gunsmoke, I got your hand. We're in Gunsmoke, Matt Dillon is chasing me and I'm the bad guy. I hop off my horse, I grab a branch and I dust the ground, but as I walk my horse off the trail, I've covered my tracks. They're not going to know where I am. The churn is constantly cleaning up the evidence of fraud in your state. That's why the churn is so valuable. And it's giving you new names to mail to all the time.
And on a few of them, with early on when we were telling the elections office that hey, we found these dead, these dead.
Yes.
They need to remove them.
Yes.
And so they would go in and remove them and backdate the cancellation to their date of death. And
They would
so that's
backdate
when
it.
she raised the everything.
To hide the fact that they've been mailing ballots to them after the fact.
Oh, yes, we have several cases of that.
I think that could be at least a misdemeanor. Yeah, yeah. Yes, ma'am. Or yes, sir. There's some cues first. Yes.
What is the goal?
The goal is for you. I've made the goal clear. The goal is for you to be in local control of your elections. How do you get to that goal? You have to first show overwhelmingly in your community that your voter roll, that your elections have been stolen from you. And people will rise up and say, we're not going to tolerate that anymore. Now, I'm in Washington County.
Home rule.
And you're a different animal. So it's going to take a heck of a movement here. Except your commissioners might be willing to say, well, gee, out of 491,000, if a third of those don't belong in the rolls, gee, that's about 15 or 16,000 times $10 a ballot. That's $1.6 million every election we could save if we would just not use the state voter rolls. 1.6 million. That's not pocket change, and that's just for one election. Plus, they're double mail and triple mail, and it's probably more than that. And there's 2 elections a year. That you're saving $3 million a year just from that one aspect that you're not cheating yet.
You're saying that by doing this, we're going to change the county commissioners' minds?
If you put in their address and you show that someone voted in their place.
This is a fair question. I need to answer his question directly, because I am under no delusion that your commissioners are all going to come to Jesus. Oh, you were right, Dr. Frank. We're going to switch you over to our own system. Ain't going to happen here. But you should see a dozen other counties that it is going to happen. So why is this important that you do it, even though we're not going to flip your commissioners next month? Because when the small counties all link elbows and stand together and tell the state, we're not going to use your system anymore, the money really matters to them. And they are far more patriotic leaders. They're going to stand, then you're going to stand with them and say, yes, it's not just them, it's us too. The whole state. I've got 28 counties, not all of them have teams. About 15 of them have teams right now. When everybody stands together, you see what we're doing? We're diluting the attention. If just one county stands, it's a mess. So you get multiple counties to stand together, and then the counties that they aren't just threatening, they stopped. They've drawn a line in the sand and said, we're not using the system. As of now, it's over. We are now, in other words, it's not a threat, it's an actual action that you're providing support for. Then that takes the heat off of them, the fact that even if you have the same problem here that they have there. Is that a fair answer? That's how we took back Shasta. That's how we took back San Joaquin. That's how we've taken back about 20 communities in Wisconsin. A third of Maine. A third of Maine. And you're like, Dr. Frank, I thought Maine was blue. People think Oregon's blue too. Oregon is red. Ironically, Oregon is red except for this little blue dot up here called Portland, right? Guess what? In Maine, it's definitely, it's even more red than you are, except for a little blue dot, ironically called Portland. But dude, and they have a lot of non-citizens voting in their elections from Canada. And we find them, and we show that they have the same problem because the voter rolls are stuff for people who don't belong there. It's the same in every state. Now I got 3 hands. Who do I go? Oh, the guy that flag first. He's wearing a flag. He gets first choice.
Can you expound a little bit on the?
I can expound on anything. Go ahead.
The U.S. Postal Service executive order from how is that going to work? How can that work with the intervening states against the 20-something states like Oregon, who is suing to stop Trump from being able to enable that EO work for the U.S. Postal Service delivery to non-federal registered addresses?
If I restate his question, how is us working at the county level going to fix the national situation? Is that your question?
It's the post office delivering.
The post office, yes. So yes, the post office is often complicit We have, in fact, as I was driving up here from Salem today, I had an 80-minute drive. I was on a call with a team from Pennsylvania, and they have caught them in the act. When you mail a bunch of ballots to people who aren't really there, they come back undeliverable. And the post office collects them in a big box. Those are valuable. They're worth a lot of money. They're worth $50 a piece on the open market. And so imagine sitting over there in the corner, a whole crate full of $50 bills. It's a very tempting situation. And what happens is, for some reason, those ballots never seem to make it back to the clerk. And they get used in elections. And so we know that there's problems at the post office. We have direct evidence. Yes, the post office is complicit. Now, I'm not saying as an organization they're complicit, but there's a funny story there that's connected to what you're saying. I was testifying before the Nebraska Congress, the legislature. They have a unicam there. They don't have a House and a Senate. They have one. They call it a unicam. And I was testifying, and I was showing. I said, the ballots can be tracked by the post office. If you're a candidate, you're a candidate. You can subscribe to the post office, and they'll give you a list every day of the ballots that were returned by mail. Did you know that? It's a monthly subscription, so you can know every day. They'll give you a list by email of every ballot that they return. The post office is tracking every ballot, and they'll give that to you. So anyway, I was testifying that before the Nebraska legislature, and their Secretary of State, Bob Evans, who's as dumb as a walnut, came down storming into the room and demanded to speak after me. And he said, Dr. Frank says that these ballots are being tracked by the post office. That is just not true at all. And he launched into this thing, and about 3 people in the audience all held their phones up at that point, showing the subscription for the post office. They could have, and so all we had to do is present. The post office tracks every ballot. So if you need to cheat an election, all you need to know is who's voted and what the tallies are. So there you go. You see, it can be complicit. And that's a little bit of expounding. How did I do? Is that enough? Did I hit the point you wanted me to hit?
The point is the lawsuit is that the federal government cannot tell a state what voter rolls to use.
That's correct. It can't.
The federal government is trying to say you will use the federally registered database.
Okay, let me address that.
Or you won't have a ballot sent to the House.
Here's the problem. So in 1993, the federal government launched something called NVRA, the National Voter Registration Act. And what it basically said is the federal government said, gee, we're noticing the voter rolls in some of the states are getting kind of dirty. We'd like the states to keep a central copy of the rolls that we can compare state to state so that we can clean up the rolls. Sounds good, yes? But the state said, no way, it's expensive. We don't want to do it. So the federal government said, we'll pay for it. So that's why it's the National Voters Registration Act. The federal government's been giving your state money, but the federal government never gives you money for nothing. There are strings attached. You agree to take the money, but you agree to keep your rolls in a certain fashion. Okay. Same thing happened in 2002 with Help America Vote Act. The federal government said, we don't want states using these hanging chads anymore. We want to switch to electronic voting machines, computerized voting machines. The states all said, no, it's too expensive. We don't want to do it. The federal government said, well, here's the money, Help America Vote Act. But you have to comply with these standards if you do it. So the reason I'm going down this road is because the state has been accepting money for decades now. It's a contract. They've been accepting money and they've agreed to comply with certain standards. And your state has not complied with most of them, which is why the DOJ sued and won, which is why Judicial Watch sued you and won, because you're not in compliance. So your state's already not complying. What now happens if the federal government says we have to do this and this and this and this? They're just going to continue to not comply. There's no reason. It's like the SAVE Act. It's going to be impotent. It doesn't really do anything. The states are just going to say, we have the constitutional right to run our elections the way we want. Pound sand. So that's the mode we're in, which is why you can't count on a top-down solution. The solution is bottom-up. You people have to say, we're not going to put up with this crap anymore. Somebody else, yes, you go ahead.
I have voter data that was polled in 2012 and 2016. Would you like that?
For the whole state?
Yes.
It was pulled at those times.
You have those already?
Instead of trying to retroact.
16, I think.
They were pulled during.
We already have 16, but we don't have 12. So yeah, I might connect you to somebody.
Okay, then you can-
Now, although I have to admit, we're at war, and it might be fun for me as a data guy to go swimming in the data, which I enjoy. But we're at war, and I don't need it.
Have it already.
I already have what I need to do what we need to do now. So, but for completeness, yeah, you're tempting me. Stop it. Get thee behind me, Satan. Okay. That's true. It could,
I'm collecting information.
it could help.
You can send it to me, I can get it.
Data are always good. I'll connect you.
So they can come and.
Keep going. We need to wrap it up.
We need to start.
We need to start wrapping it up. Yes, sir. And then you.
The county commissioners have names and addresses. And couldn't you work it through this?
Of
and
course we could.
hand them copies of how many people are living?
Wouldn't that be fun? Oh, wouldn't that be fun?
County commissioner's eye.
When you go to the county commissioner meetings, give them a copy of their own neighborhood.
Oh.
Let them see their own neighborhood is a mess.
Great idea.
Whoever, that's the best thing about what I do. I trust the country. I do the best ideas and I collect them up and I share them. They call me the Johnny Appleseed of election integrity, but I think I do more cross pollination. And that's a great idea. Some of them have, yeah, that's true. That's true. Any final questions? Now, tomorrow, are we having training? Okay, let me try to see. Okay, so Teresa knows what I do. So what I usually do is I give a talk like this. I red pill a bunch of people, and then the following day we form our team and we do training. Well, we already have a team, already have training. We don't need to do training. But what we do need to do is get your name signed up on that team. So that they will send you your copy in your neighborhood, and you're gonna knock on your own doors, and you're gonna check out your own neighborhood. And then later we'll call you and say, can we sign you up for this week? Can you come in and talk about the fraud we found in your neighborhood? That's gonna be great. We're just gonna have a constant stream of fraud, public fraud being exposed in the election. And that will create the public movement and support the other team. Thanks, man.
All right, I had to leave. That guy is a motor mouth. He can't stay on topic. I'd rather say anything. And 2.5 hours.
I know, for real, right? My ADHD kicked in, bro.
Oh man, I mean, he's got a lot of knowledge.
Yeah,
but
he's very smart.
he just can't stay on topic. And he's telling so many stories. I'm out here with Tommy. Tommy couldn't take it anymore either. Let's switch the camera around. And here's Ground Zero. He
explained a lot of things.
Yeah, he goes from one topic to another.
They could have been done in like an hour, and he goes on. And I was telling my chat, as if he tells one more story, I'm gonna unalive myself. Yeah, that was.
I came out here and started looking at albino animals.
He likes to hear himself talk.
No, I mean, like, it was good information. He could have.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, he's got amazing knowledge.
Yeah, he's really smart.
But like when he's like, "Oh, we're getting to the good stuff," and I'm like, "It's fucking 8 o'clock. You waited 2 hours."
Well, we already heard the good stuff.
Yeah, well, we did, but he, like.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Did you know there's albino squirrels?
There's albino everything.
Albino prairie dogs? Yes. Albino giraffes?
Albino black people.
No.
Yes.
There's no albino black.
Yes, there are.
They would just be white.
They're not. They got curly hair.
Oh, shit, I guess. They say gingers are black, but I think that's bullshit.
No, they're albino blacks. Look it up. You're going to crack your ass. You're going to crack up.
Oh, shit, I'm ready to go get something to eat.
And who the hell is in the back coughing nonstop? That pisses me off. Like, don't bring your friggin' cold here,
Bring your cold to us.
Keep your cold at home. All right.
All
Well,
right, you guys.
I'm
we're outta
gonna
here.
sign off and go in and say hi to Iceman.
God bless you guys. I love you guys.
All right, everybody. Thanks for
Have a good
watching.
night. Albino black people